Good evening and a very warm welcome to this evening's webinar. This is the second in our masterclass series tonight, and we are focusing on digital marketing, specifically on getting the very best out of Google for your business. And we'll be taken through a really in-depth look at search engine optimization. My name is Nicola Kelly. I am the Secretary of Business Ireland Southern Africa in Johannesburg, and I'm delighted to be your host for the next hour or so. Just a bit of an introduction to Business Ireland Southern Africa. I would hope that everyone on the line is aware of who we are, but if not, BISA Johannesburg is one chapter in the Business Ireland Southern Africa family. So BISA is a voluntary body, and our objective is to create a forum for business networking and information sharing. So in pre-COVID times, we enjoyed multiple in-person networking events, but we are where we are in 2020. So like all of you, we have pivoted to an online platform. But the BISA organization is really for the Irish business community in South Africa and for those interested in building links with Irish business. So your feedback, your input, your suggestions are all very, very welcome as we look towards growing our membership and really strengthening our network. But back to the topic of this evening. So even pre-pandemic, every business needed to adapt and embrace new technologies. So the COVID crisis really just accelerated a process that was really long underway. So we know there are many business owners in the Irish community in South Africa, and given the significance of building a strong online presence, this masterclass really aims to give you a deeper understanding of the hows and the whys of some of the tools that are available to you. So if you're a bit of a technophobe, the sheer volume of information at your fingertips can be slightly overwhelming. So we are delighted to have two leading digital marketing experts with us this evening. They've kindly agreed to take us by the hand and walk us through how you and your business can build those vital skills and competencies to really embrace that transformational change for your business. Google is part of our everyday lives. I'm fairly sure I would be lost somewhere in Gauteng if it wasn't for Google Maps. But how well do you really know what Google can offer your business? We've got Basetsana Motsapi with us this evening. She is an account strategist for Google, and she specializes in digital growth. She normally sits in the Google EMEA headquarters in Dublin, but she's currently working offsite in Cape Town. So we're absolutely delighted to have her here with us this evening to discuss the range of tools that Google offer, giving us some really invaluable tips and tricks on how to leverage this really powerful platform for business. And we have Mr. David Delaney, our very own BISA Johannesburg digital lead. As many of you will know, David is a very multifaceted individual. Not only is he an independent search engine optimization expert, he is also South Africa's only Irish fiddle player. So David helps brands every day to improve and generate real leads from their online presence. So he's going to be bringing us through how to use search engine optimization as a critical component for your digital marketing strategy. Before I hand over to our first speaker, let me highlight that you are all mute, so there can be no heckling, but you can use the chat and the Q&A functionality to ask any questions that come up over the course of the session. At the end of both presentations, we will give the presenters the opportunity to respond to any direct questions. But let me stop here and hand over to our first speaker, Basetsana.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nicola, for that wonderful introduction. I'm just going to go ahead and start sharing my screen, if that's okay with everyone. Just one moment. Nicola, I've actually fell into some technical difficulty and I'm experiencing a little bit of difficulty in terms of sharing my screen. Would it be possible for us to move on over to David before regrouping over to me?
Absolutely. David, if you are ready to go through your presentation first, we will switch up the order.
That was a bit of a surprise. Can you hear me?
We can, and you're looking great.
Hopefully my connection will hold true. Sounding okay?
Oh, now we are viewing Basetsana's screen.
Please go ahead.
Basetsana, we had your screen and then we've lost it again.
I'm hoping that you have it now.
We have it. Thank you very much.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you everyone just for the patience around that. It's 2020, so honestly, we're always just looking out for how things can go wrong. But thank you all for your patience around that. So in today's session, at least, we're going to be taking you through how you can scale your business with Google. Just to set a little bit of an agenda for today, the session is going to cover two things you can do right now to market your business and to connect with consumers online. So in the first section, I'll be taking you through the consumer trends, which will really help you to understand the context in which your businesses are running. In the second session, Google My Business, I'll show you how you could connect with local searchers using Google My Business. And then thirdly, in the Google Ads section, I'll show you how to promote your products and services on Google and partner websites, effectively making it possible to take your business from South Africa and local searches, but also to the rest of the world. All right, so there are a number of traits that characterize the modern consumer, one of which is curiosity. So the modern consumer is resource obsessed due to an unlimited amount of information or access to this information. And thanks to digital, then mobile, and increasingly smart devices in our homes, cars, and TVs, we can get answers and advice about anything from everywhere. And in order to identify the next buy, we see that consumers research the ins and outs of all products, of activities, of features, even going so far as to research what to avoid. An interesting stat that we have here is that nearly 9 in 10 smartphone users are not absolutely certain of the specific brand they would want to buy from when they're looking to buy, or when they're looking rather for information online. And this just screams to the fact that people are still very much in a research phase and open to brands when they begin their customer journey. The second characteristic of the modern day consumer is that they're demanding. So the modern day consumer, despite really being empowered with all of this information, also expects better information and experiences too. So the standards are quite high. The modern consumer doesn't want to be one of the masses, but rather wants to be treated with a personal touch, with messages that are really tailored to them, not just as a person, but as a person in a particular situation. Finally, the modern day consumer is impatient. Mobile searches for open, for now, for near me have grown by over 200% over the past 2 years. People want to find exactly what they need right in the moment when they're ready to act on it. There is a right now mindset and an expectation to get things and to get things done immediately. Amongst these things are your products and services as a business owner. As an entrepreneur, it is really pivotal to your business's success and growth to be able to connect to this modern day consumer. Google My Business is one of the platforms that can help you to achieve this. So what is it exactly? So it's the tool that helps businesses to create and manage their profiles, which appear when customers rather are looking for businesses on both Google Search and Google Maps. As a business, having a Google My Business profile increases the likelihood of attracting customers to your physical store by 38% and also increases the likelihood of purchase by 29%. Now that we understand a little bit around what Google My Business is, let's take a look as to why Google My Business. And this is for 3 reasons. It helps you to stand out, to engage, as well as to have insights around your business activity. Let's take a deeper dive into each of these 3 reasons. So in terms of standing out, let's take the example of South African natural hair care and skincare brand Native Child. Understanding that their customers compare their own listings alongside other businesses' listings on Google to make decisions. Native Child makes it count every time someone is looking for their product offering by simply having a Google My Business profile. In their case, the brand is sharing up-to-date address details, phone numbers, their website details, open hours, and more to really help customers find their business. They keep their profile current and exciting with fresh photos, with special offers, and with promotions. The second reason behind why Google My Business would be because it allows you to engage with your customers, and it allows for this interaction in a number of ways. So customers can share stories, they can leave reviews, they can reach out to local businesses to inquire right from their phones. Like Native Child, your brand or business can easily join in the conversation with its own customers. You can be the first to know when a new review goes up and respond to offer perspective. You can fix a problem, you can answer a question, or simply say thank you to a happy customer. It is also possible to further engage with customers using the Google My Business messaging tool via the Google My Business app. And this is available for both Android and iOS. And within the app, there's an option for you to essentially turn on your messaging, which would enable direct messaging between you and your customers, ensuring timely alert and response to customer queries, messages, or inquiries. Finally, it allows insights. So it allows you to really get an understanding of what's working. Insights give you key information about how people are finding your business and what type of information they are looking for, which you can then use to attract new customers. You can track important actions like the number of times someone has actually searched for your business, viewed your posts and photos, called your business, or requested directions. You can also learn where your customers come from geographically. What days of the week bring you most activity, what hours of the day brings you most activity, and a lot more. Now that we've covered the what and the why, we're going to go into the steps as to how to go about setting up your own Google My Business profile. So in order to set up, you would start by heading on over to the Google My Business website at business.google.com, and you can feel free to log in by email. And then the first step would be to add your business name. So if your business name as you type in pops up, and it is indeed your business, feel free to click on the name in order to claim it and take ownership of that business profile. If it's not popping up as you're typing, enter your business name and then you can select next. Now, the second step would be to select a business category that best fits your brand or business. If you're unable to identify an exact match, try to identify the category that comes closest to your primary business category. The third step is to specify your physical location. If you're operating from home or an e-commerce store, then you might not always wish to reflect your address. Fortunately, you don't have to. So in this case, you can opt into not displaying your home address. And then next, we'd actually want to specify the service area. In my case, I am based in Cape Town at the moment, and so I would enter Cape Town. You have the option of selecting more geographical locations, so multiple geographic locations, or expanding it to countries, and even selecting multiple countries that you'd like to service. The final step would be to link your Google My Business profile to an existing website, or if you don't have an existing website, to go ahead and get a free and create a free website via Google My Business. In order to get one created based on the information in your profile, you can just go ahead and click and select get a free website. You can also feel free to add a contact number at this stage. And there we're done. So those are the most important steps in terms of creating this free Google My Business profile so that your business is able to appear on both search and maps when people are looking for products related to what you offer. Next, I'm going to take you through 1 or 2 additional pointers for verifying your business and creating a free website for your business. So in order to verify your affiliation or ownership of the business, we recommend adding an address to your profile. This doesn't necessarily mean that your address will be shown if you had opted no in the location setting earlier. It is simply for the purposes of proving ownership. After entering your address details, you'd be asked to verify your profile. So you could verify by postcard by mail. However, the more reliable method would definitely be to select the verify later option. And with the verify later option, you can then opt to verify with Sub-Saharan Africa's featured partner, Africa 118, by visiting google.africa118.com. Here, you'll be able to obtain assistance from Africa 118, either in the form of a callback, requesting a callback, or calling them directly. More information around this is also available on the Google My Business website. It is really crucial, and I can't emphasize this enough, to really follow through on the verification, because without this, the business profile might not appear. You might have difficulty in terms of the full functionality of Google My Business, or not be able to update the information. So even though you might select that verify later option, it is really crucial to follow through and either obtain the assistance via Africa 118 or verify it by postcard at a later stage. All right, great. So now that we have an understanding of how simple it really is to connect with local searches, let's take a look at how online advertising, specifically Google search, can help you to meet your business's needs. Because we really do believe, at least at Google, that managing a business is a full-time job already, but advertising your business online shouldn't be. So why Google search? And the answer behind this is because search is a strong indicator of intent. Think about it. When you want to find out more about something, what do you do? When you're looking for something, what do you do? And even if you're looking to visit a website, more often than not, instead of going directly to the website, where do you go first? We search on Google. In fact, nowadays, it's possible to even go beyond just searching with your fingers and searching with our voice assistants too. So from a business point of view, Google search provides an opportunity to meet customers when they are actively looking for something, a product or a service that we offer, and have that high intent. Now, to demonstrate Google search, let's take an example of a business, Motsapi. This is a homegrown and local brand, and is one of the biggest success stories to come out of South Africa. To do this, I'm going to play a video.
Sorry, Basetsana, is there supposed to be sound on that video? Because it's not coming through.
There is indeed. Oh, thank you for alerting me around that. Well, let us just have a double look there. Anything now, Nicola?
Not yet.
Okay, just 1 second.
And
now?
There we go. Perfect.
A range of knitwear that celebrates my traditional culture. I take simple motifs which I reference from museums around South Africa and translate them into modern patterns and designs. Now today we've grown to employ creative people. So I feel proud that I'm doing my part as a South African to confront unemployment. Google has changed the way that I foresee the future of my brand. Half of our website visits have come from Google. And Google My Business has led to an increase of people visiting our stores. Someone would search for African fashion and our search would be high up where people can just press a button and purchase. What Google is offering is an exciting evolution that is happening globally. It feels epic to have Americans buying our brands that I used to watch on TV and now I watch them modeling our clothes. It feels unbelievable. Google are helping me achieving my dream of taking my Xhosa culture to the rest of the world.
Great. So for Xhosa and many other businesses, search activity provides an opportunity to convert that intent we spoke around a little bit earlier and interest into actual business, which at the end of the day is what we're really here to talk about. So whether whenever someone rather searches for their brand specifically, or whenever someone is searching for African fashion in general, these are Google search opportunities for this specific business. Now, here are some of our campaign types matched out against a marketing funnel, which represents a customer's journey. First, from seeing your brand and becoming aware of it, to thinking about your brand and including your products and services as part of their consideration set, to taking on action and purchasing from your business, and then finally to a point where they care and are local and are loyal to your business, and retention can take place. From top to bottom, we see that Google does have solutions which helps to move consumers along this journey and bring about business success. From top to bottom, we see YouTube ads, we see display ads, we see search ads, and we see shopping ads. However, for today, we're going to be focusing on the do part, advertising on search, and more specifically, smart campaigns. Here's an example of how these search ads look like. In this example, Tsepo Jeans wants to ensure that for every relevant search, they provide an opportunity for people to click through on the ad, click through to their site, and make an online purchase. The highlighted ad is what I'll show you how to set up today. So in terms of the process, here's how we can begin a quick setup. To get to this point, you would have needed to create a Google Ads account and clicked to create your first campaign. You would then select the goal that will make this campaign a success to you or for your business. If you're a retailer like Xhosa is, you might select a sales goal. But if you're wanting to collect customers' information for use at a later stage, then you might select leads, etc. After this, you can feel free to select a campaign type. In our case, we'll be working with smart campaigns, pretty self-explanatory. And then you can go ahead and select or specify the action that you want customers to take. If, for example, make calls to your business, visit your store, or take specific actions on your website. So the next step is entering your business name and website. We hope that by this stage you definitely know the name of your business. And if you don't have a website, you can go ahead and create a free one with Google My Business. The next step would be to enter locations where you would want to showcase your ads. In this example, we've gone ahead and selected Nairobi. You can choose to set up a radius around your business too. So for example, a business can ensure that their ads are only serving to people within a 5-kilometer radius of their physical store. If your business offers a service in Durban, we would not want your ads necessarily serving in Cape Town. So this is a good way to make sure that it only reaches the desired audience. You can also go ahead and see the estimated number of people on Google search in your targeted location. In this case, the example that we're using, Nairobi, the potential audience size is sitting at around just under 5 million. Next, you would want to go ahead and select keyword themes. These are really the driving force behind Google search. Think of them as potential searches that you would like to match your ad to. In this example, we're a web design company and we're selecting themes such as creating a website and web design to trigger our ads. Next, we'd create the ads themselves. You can start by describing your products and services or even including a special offer for your customers. And you must ensure to have both headlines and descriptions, all the sort of stuff that help your business to stand out. There's a preview on your right just so that you can have an idea of what the setup might look like as you go along. Importantly, the next step would be to set your daily budgets. Select a daily budget that makes sense for you. Remember, you only pay for ad clicks and calls to your business, and not necessarily every time someone sees your ad. The great thing about all of this is that you're not committing an investment into a black hole. You'll always be able to come back and really measure exactly what your money did for the business. The next step is an overview of all the settings you've chosen. You'll be able to see the estimated performance of your ad as well. Also note, if available on the same page, you can add your phone number and link Google My Business, as these help you to track your verified calls and map actions. And you're good to go. Congratulations on your first smart campaign. So it's a few easy steps that can provide immense upside value. The best part about advertising digitally is the ability to really measure your performance. Here in your account, you can see exactly how your accounts are performing. Metrics include impressions, how many people have seen your ads, clicks, map actions, calls, etc. You can download the Google Ads app on your iOS or Android device so that you can monitor performance on this front too. All of this in the palm of your hands. Lastly, if this was too much for you, at least in terms of the account setup or even the Google My Business setup, and you'd like for assistance, you can go to google.africa118.com and our partner Africa118 will assist you in setting up and managing the account. Even if you already have an account, they can also assist in optimizing it. And that's it from my front. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing all your businesses online.
Thank you so much, Basetsana. That was really useful. Even what you think you know, you don't. So that was a really useful guide. And it's so vital. If you're investing the time and the energy and creating this content, being able to analyze how it's working for you is really important. I'm not sure if we have any questions at this point. Just having a look in here. No, I think we're okay. I think you have guided us so clearly that we have no questions at this point. So we will move to our next speaker, Mr. David Delaney.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Basetsana, for a fantastic presentation on some of the great benefits of Google. I know I'm absolutely hooked on Google. I don't know where my life would go. And even just to give an example, there's a friend of mine tried to sell me a Huawei P40 Lite last week. And it's unfortunately, this new Huawei doesn't come with the Google Drive and the Google services. So it literally was a great camera, but no go for me. I depend on my Drive access. I depend on obviously maps and you know, everything that we take for granted and are used to on the Google Play Store. So yeah, Google has become an everyday part of our lives. I'd like to just move on from what Basetsana said, and also, yeah, thank you for going through the Google My Business, and which has shaved a couple of minutes off my own presentation, which is way too long. That's very much a part of local SEO. So SEO is search engine optimization, not to be confused with SOE, state-owned enterprises, which I've gotten 1 or 2 inquiries about. And very much it's about having consumer-centric content on your website. It's very much changing the perspective from, you know, writing your content about we, and very much focusing on the customer and the benefits, looking at the problems, a solution, an outcome, and marketing why your company is the best. And it's very much doing it on the organic search platform. So I'm going to share a presentation also to guide you through and speak through quite a bit of it as well. If you have any questions, yeah, feel free. I'm going to give quite a few examples and squeeze as much as I can into the next 20 minutes or so. So what we'll cover, I'll try and give a higher level overview of what is SEO, what is search engine optimization. I'm going to show a few features of how it works, and I'm going to use my own website as an example of the little changes I made to make my website rank better in Google and other search engines. Then a big question, how much does it cost? And unlike Google and the pay-per-click platforms, it's not very much a cost investment, but more a time investment and an investment in expertise. Also, you want to know when you're investing in SEO and carrying on for a few months, how effective it is, what's your return on investment. And I'll give you a few metrics that you can look at to determine whether SEO is being worth your while, or whether you should stick with it, and whether you should invest more in it. And finally, I'll look at how we can maybe how you can integrate SEO and how it actually leans itself towards other platforms, and it becomes part of your overall strategy. So getting started with SEO, it's quite a few factors that affect your search engine rankings. And very much, number one, it's all about content. It's all about having the right message, relevant, informed content that answers the question that a user will put into Google search. And if your content closely matches the answer people want, Google will reward you with the hopefully a #1 position in the organic search results. And then SEO, where to start? You gotta do research. You don't just jump in. You don't just assume your brand name, your product name is what everyone's going to be looking at. You need to look at keywords. It's all about the keyword. You're looking for keywords with high volume, hopefully medium to low competition, and you focus your keyword strategy on that. Then tracking your SEO, there's quite a few tools you can use to track it and see how you're doing, see if certain keywords are working or if you should make some changes. And again, the goal is to be rewarded with your relevant content, with hopefully that coveted #1 position on a Google search ranking for a decent volume keyword. And SEO it's not just a one-off job. You have to keep going. You have got to keep producing. Google wants you to keep providing relevant information. It's an information hub, and they want, it's in the information age. They want the best information to give to their users. Which fuels search ranking.
I'm so sorry. Yeah. Do you want to just make your screen full screen?
Will do. Sorry.
Thank you very much.
Bit better? No problem. I'm going to jump in and out with some examples, so I will minimize. So my definition of SEO is improving your website and any other online material. That can be blogs, it can be even social media posts, it can be Google My Business posts and pictures and images, infographics, with relevant and focused content in such a way it tells Google and other search engines such as Bing, DuckDuckGo, and MSN that your brand should appear at or near the top of organic search results when a user inserts a phrase in the search bar. And just to elaborate on SEO, it's not a platform, it's not a company, there's no SEO.com, it's more of a discipline. So it's separate from website development, it's separate from social media, it's separate from search engine paid marketing. It's a discipline that that ties into all these elements. It's a bit like jiu-jitsu as part of martial arts. SEO is a separate discipline that does tie into other disciplines. Apologies. Okay, so what is SEO? I'll give you 2 examples of SEO in action. So I put the left-hand example, a personal example, where I've kind of played on the keywords best violin player in SA. And what comes up is daviddelaney.co.za. Am I the best violin player in South Africa? No, I'm not. I've never been invited to join the JPO and more than likely never will. But I am a violin player in SA who knows how search engines work, and I know how to get my rankings, which in turn gets me leads and eventually gets me more bookings. So I do cover that position, and I know how to optimize and distribute my content on my website in such a way that Google's bots, when they're looking through sites and when they're looking through search results, it pulls daviddelaney.co.za as the best search result for somebody, hopefully a potential client or somebody getting married or some HR person organizing your event. They're going to see my website link come up as #1, which is will have the highest intent for someone to click through on that. On the right hand side, a little bit blurry, but let me show you. It's cheapest car insurance. Now, obviously, it's compared to best violin player in South Africa, which is rarely, if ever, even checked. Cheap car insurance gets roughly 1,500 searches a month. And especially in the climate at the moment, everyone's looking for, cheaper premiums. So it's a huge keyword. Cheap car insurance, cheaper car insurance, cheapest car insurance. And who has come out on top there is hippo.co.za, who actually isn't a broker, an insurance broker. It's actually a comparison engine but they are actually owned by Auto in general. So that #1 position, which is coveted by hippo.co.za, is an extremely competitive keyword. So if you were a car insurance broker starting out and trying to get to #1, because of the level of competition and the number of insurance players in the market, it's very difficult to reach that level. So it's an example of a #1 ranking, the importance of ranking #1 in SEO and organic search for a very high volume keyword. And #2 being King Price, and I'm sure Outsurance and a few other First for Women, they'll be vying for that #1 spot, at least trying to get to #1, 2, and 3. I think beyond the middle of the first page, the concentration it tails off a lot. It's very difficult to get much click-throughs to your website when you're beyond the first page. So as I mentioned, SEO is changing your content to customer-centric, less about we and more about you. It's more about highlighting the problem, showing the solution, and showing and displaying the outcome of why that person should go with your service. Also, it's ensuring that your web content closely matches what a potential customer is searching for. And again, by matching up words such as cheap car insurance, Hippo have managed to nudge to the front in getting that #1 spot for search. And thirdly, going beyond SEO is making sure you correct any technical issues in your site. And that can be issues specifically page speed, also user experience. It can also be the editing and formatting, things like images being too big, you need to compress them. So the quicker your page loads and the better content is and more relevant it is to the search, the better chance you have of ranking on the top of page 1. So what SEO, it's opening up a cost-effective way to generate leads. So unlike Google and Facebook and Instagram, it's not a pay-per-click model. It's not a paid lead. It's an earned lead. And what you need to do, you need to ensure your website reads like a digital book with clear pathways to purchase and inquire for a potential customer. And the big question: how much does SEO cost? And as I mentioned, it's less a financial investment and more a time investment. So there's no advertising, there's no paying to get to #1. You've got in Google search, you've got your sponsored ads at the top, which is what Basetsana mentioned you can do through Google My Business on the pay-per-click advertising. And then just below your sponsored ads, you have your organic searches. And that is I guess, the holy grail of SEO, is to get to that #1 position on organic search. So your SEO budget, obviously you need to allocate it from your overall marketing budget. And a good way to, I guess, decide how much you're willing to invest, maybe you've got a budget to say of 20,000 rand, is to look through your analytics and look through your sources of traffic. Often you're going to have direct traffic, which is people typing in www.hippo.co.za. You'll have referral traffic, which is traffic from other sites, but the big one is organic search traffic. You'll see the organic search, and look at the percentage of traffic you get through there, and then maybe divide up your overall marketing budget and then allocate that certain percentage. So if you're getting, say, 35% of your total traffic through to your site coming from organic search, is worth allocating 30 to 40% of your marketing budget there. But the main thing is SEO is time intensive. It's not a quick fix. It's not a quick turnaround. There's no way of paying to get to #1. That's the good thing about SEO. It's highly regulated. Google rewards great content and it penalizes bad and dodgy content. It penalizes fake news. It's time intensive, and I recommend at least an investment of 3 to 6 months, because the results, they start very slow, but once you start cementing your rankings, you start to see a good elevation in your search and your results. So again, if you want to go into SEO, don't expect a quick fix. Expect to be in it for the medium term at least, to get proper results. And the cost-wise, what you'd allocate is, you need time. So whether you do it yourself or whether you hire an agency, the main starting work starts with keyword research. That's finding out which keywords actually have search volumes. Again, if you're selling something very specific, it might not have a lot of searches, but if you broaden your words to maybe a more generic term for what you sell or a service you provide, you'll find there's a lot more regular searches on Google. I'll quickly show you how you can see that. Content optimization, also it's quite time consuming. Making sure your content, you've got your keyword distributed nicely throughout your pages. Site indexing, just to make sure, a tick box to make sure your site is indexed by Google. So Google's bots can go through your site and be able to pull your search from a user query. The initial work on page SEO, that is various tagging and keyword distribution on your own website and your actual work. Site mapping, same as indexing. Make sure you got a site map that Google can recognize, register your site and bring back your search. And again, local search optimization, that's using your Google My Business, posting regularly, posting offers, posting your products, and then looking for reviews. Reviews is also a very important part of your Google My Business, to encourage people to review. People often, they'll make their purchase decision based on a high 4.0 and above review in a Google score. There's quite a bit. Then ongoing SEO costs. Again, I say it's not a once-off job. You got to keep going. You got to keep producing and publishing regular, fresh, relevant content. And the most traditional example of ongoing SEO would be a blog page. And there's more to a blog than just telling stories and covering, current projects. It also it actually helps to build on your keywords that you have on page. Then building backlinks is also, it's an authority, it's a way that Google can judge the authority, the domain authority of your page, how reputable you are. The more clean backlinks you have, that's backlink from one site, which is going towards your site, clicking onto your site. The more links you have from reputable websites, the greater your authority, and the higher your authority, the more that Google ranks you with a good position in search rankings. And trend analysis, again, it's using data and insights to check which keywords are going up, which keywords are dropping, which keywords that you've optimized are even possibly non-existent. So it's continual optimization that you've got to be doing. I say it's not a full-time 24/7 job, but you've got to keep your eye on the ball all the time to make sure that your investment is worthwhile. So the question you must ask yourself is, do you hire an SEO expert who knows the inner workings of SEO, or do you train yourself? Do you possibly do a course to be able to train yourself up? And the option is you can do both. If you have the budget, I would recommend to bring in an SEO, especially on the initial stages, to show you how to identify which keywords have got proper volumes. And in time, be able to train yourself to be able to take it over yourself. So I think I would recommend a bit of both. Hire somebody, but also with view to being able to take it on yourself. I just want to show you an example, hopefully if my time is good to me, an example of how I've optimized my homepage. I'm just going to jump out and go into my homepage, daviddelaney.co.za. I've got a Moz plugin. The main areas that you can focus to, I guess, optimize your page for SEO to get this ranking in search. If my bar was working. Okay, let's try and go through it. The main elements on the checklist for SEO is firstly the page title, and the page title is what appears here. You see, I'll show you. So it's violin player and wedding musician / David Delaney / Johannesburg, South Africa. That's my page title. It's one of the most important things that Google recognizes, and I've optimized the page for violin player. I've also included my brand name, and I've also used my location to be location specific. And then throughout my page, I've used violin player as a heading, a H1 heading. And in the images, which you can see, you've got alt tags on the back end of your images. So it's more of a tagging SEO. It's not like a programming language. It's more tagging the right areas. So it's the page title, and then you have a meta description. So to give you an example of a meta description. So for example, the Classic FM, you've got your page title here, most important, and your meta description describes what the person is going to be clicking through. So if your page title and your meta description is strong, it has a much better chance of getting a click-through onto your website. Okay, and moving on to measuring SEO effectiveness. And it's difficult to measure, did an organic search lead through to a purchase? It could have been an assisted conversion. But the best way to judge how well your SEO is doing, again, as I mentioned with allocating your budget, look at your organic search volume. So look at the percentage of your total website clicks that come through from organic Google search. Also, look at your ranking spots. Obviously, you're aiming for number one, but there is not one keyword. There's billions of keywords. There's cheap car insurance, there's cheaper car insurance, there's cheapest car insurance in Cape Town, and all, you know, Google is searching for different keywords. So it's finding the right high volume keywords. But you know, if you're optimizing your pages for a specific keyword, you can keep tabs on them and look at the ranking spots. If you're heading towards page 1 and getting to page 1, you're doing well. If you're still stuck around page 4 or 5, either that keyword is not matching the content on the page, or it's not a high volume keyword, and it's worth your time checking what's a better keyword you can use on that. And also the click-through rate. What percentage of impressions that you were shown on Google actually was clicked through to your site? And again, to show you how I can measure my own website, I use a Google tool called Google Search Console, which looks at what's happening with my impressions on Google search and how I'm performing. And I can see here, it's the last 3 months. My data is a bit depressing. You can imagine in the last few months, there hasn't been people looking for music. We've been sitting at home, twiddling our fingers, waiting for the lockdown to happen. But I can see in the last 3 months, I've had 30 web clicks come through. I've had 381 impressions. So I can see that my click-through, so from an impression on a Google search to an actual click-through to my site has been 7.9%, which is up from 4.1% in the previous 3 months. So at least people are clicking through twice as much, and I'm appearing more. The only worry is that my average position has gone up from 13, which is again the top of page 2, to further down page 2. That's how I can judge my click-through rate. I can see how I'm performing overall in SEO. And then with Google Search Console, it actually shows me what queries people are typing into Google to find me. And you can see the top one, violinist for weddings. I've gotten 3 clicks. And I've had a David Delaney, my own name. I've had 2. Violinist for wedding ceremony near me. I've had 2 clicks. Just violinist on 1 wedding violinist. So I know, looking through my site, that I'm targeting the right keywords. It's just it's a cycle where there's not gigs happening, or it's just starting to open up. But at least I can see. With another client I've got a security and steel firm, which I've got much healthier numbers. And again, it kind of shows you that SEO takes time. With this company, Cochrane Global, I've had the previous 3 months was 3,500 clicks to the site. In the last 3 months, which is September, August, and July, it's moved up to 5,500 clicks. Again, the average click-through rate has stayed almost the same, but importantly, the average position has gone from position 14, which is page 2, position 4, down to 11, which is the very top of page 2. And again, with this company, I'm able to show the company stats on which keywords are getting the highest clicks. So a lot of them are brand focused keywords. You probably recognize the Clearview from the signs on the wall. Some of these have gone up nicely, particularly a keyword, the keyword Clearview fencing, which we optimized for their major project, has gone up from 45 clicks to 164. And then Clearview without a space has gone from 91 up to 440. So that, again, Google Search Console is another way you can measure the effectiveness of your SEO. Nicola, how am I doing for time? Does anyone have any questions for me so far? or should I leave it to the end?
Yeah, I think so, David.
No problem. I'll keep going. Got a few more slides. So again, how do you evaluate your SEO? So it's looking at the metrics, the visitor conversion rate, how many visitors came from organic search and possibly made an appointment, booked a consultant with you, bought a product, requested more information. There's different, again, there's different types of conversions along the see, think, do, care funnel. Again, the average sale amount, judge what you, maybe the purchase you've sold through organic versus what you've sold through paid search and direct traffic. And again, more than just to say, look at the customer lifetime value. How valuable have your organic traffic been to your business? And then divide that up against, you know, the monthly or the annual investment you're doing. It gives you roughly a return of investment on your SEO strategy. Finally, to try and integrate SEO into your digital marketing strategy, how it works all together. So SEO can be used as, you know, on all levels of the purchase journey, right from awareness, and that's, you know, publishing blogs, adding videos to YouTube, showing you solutions. So that's optimizing your product pages to make sure they appear at the top of user searches, building up trust as well, and that's even going back to Google My Business with reviews, having, you know, testimonials on your website. When people type, like I say, best violinist in South Africa, or best car insurance, best bank in South Africa. There's a lot of SEO work can be doing to build up trust, to get new prospective customers. And again, with the loyalty between Google My Business, publishing testimonials, publishing blogs, SEO can also help to build loyalty among your current customers and have them become ambassadors to your brand. So in digital marketing strategy, SEO with social media, although it's separate, social media still brings links or clicks through to your site. It improves your authority if you're getting quality clicks. And again, Google looks at your authority, where the traffic is coming from. If you're getting more clicks through social, you're going to get rewarded with higher positions. Email marketing and automation, not so much. PPC marketing, again, it's the opposite of SEO, but having Google ads and also featuring organically and having an ad, it's like having two positions on the first page. It helps a lot more than just having one position on page one. Then video content, and particularly in YouTube, being connected to Google. Also, you can optimize YouTube videos with tags and titles that can actually bring in, you know, in Google, you've got your video tabs on the video results on the first page. So trying to optimize your videos, it's not just content and text, it's also videos. Then down to print, TV, and radio marketing, not so much. But to finish, an engaging, user-friendly website very much is the cornerstone of should be the cornerstone of your SEO focus. Having proper content, a great website that works, that loads quickly, that gives the right information that people want to come back to and purchase your goods and services on. So looking to overall digital marketing strategy in SEO, identify a target audience, and that starts with keyword research. And you've got tools such as Google Keyword Planner that tells you, you know, which keywords get volumes. You've got Google Trends to show you what's been the trend in the last 6 months. Has a certain keyword or has a certain brand gone up and down? Then also looking at competitor analysis, checking what your competitors are doing, making sure you're not plagiarizing competitors, but also making sure what you're doing is better than your competitors to encourage better click-throughs. And obviously Google Analytics will show you exactly your channel groupings, where your traffic is coming from, how your organic search and your SEO performs relative to your other channels. You set your goals. Obviously, you're selling your product and services. You're speaking to customers through information, through about pages, through blogs, through listings, and you measure progress, and you adapt your keywords, you adapt your SEO strategy as you go along, as you see the curves going. So in order to use SEO to grow your business, and ultimately, if you're going to spend the time investing in SEO, it needs to affect the bottom line, which is to grow business, to sell more products and services. Set realistic targets, not just financial targets, but also time targets. Don't expect it to just kick in and happen overnight or in a week or even a month. I never give never give clients realistic expectations of anything less than 3 months. And if you do get an SEO agency that promises you to get you on Google next week, they're full of nonsense. You have to wait your time. Again, it'll grow and expand your brand. It'll assist conversions. It'll have people come back again to you on direct traffic and convert with you. So just some resources to leave you with. Again, keyword tools to get started, keyword planner and trends. You can look at search volumes, look at the competition. Try not to aim for competition competition is generally ranked between 0 and 1. Anything above 0.7 and 1 is highly competitive. Medium competition is between, say, 0.25 and 0.6, and low competition is 0 to 0.25. If you can find a high volume keyword in a low competition, that's exactly where you should start with your keywords. Then for knowledge and resources, I recommend Search Engine Land. Again, it's a blog page. A lot of the top guys and experts are regularly producing content. Search Engine Journal is also a similar product. And Search Engine Optimization, it changes all the time. And the idea is that Google wants to keep us as content creators on our toes all the time. So whenever you think you've mastered Google and you've hit #1, you're never safe. Google will put in their famous algorithm core updates. They'll knock one in and suddenly you find yourself bouncing down to level 3 again. It's not that you've done anything specifically wrong, it's that they want you to interact more. And then implementing on your page, there's a great plugin called Yoast. It's a free plugin that you add to the back end of your WordPress. And if you know how to do, it's quite simple, straightforward checklist. Again, like I was mentioning with page title metas, it looks at your keyword density, it looks at your spell checker, and it tells you that if you have a red, orange, or green light for SEO. Thank you very much, guys. That's hopefully not too much in 20 minutes on SEO.
Thank you so much, David. That was so interesting. We have a couple of questions. We did have a comment from Julian who wanted to connect with you. So I'm not sure if he wants more detailed SEO advice or if he's looking for the best violin player in South Africa, but we will connect you separately. And we have another question, I think a follow-on from one of your elements to consider slide. Does the same concept apply to social media searches? And do you also get stats from Facebook, Instagram, etc.?
With the searches applying to social media, I guess up until a few years ago, it wasn't the best way I can explain it is hashtags. So before SEO had no competition, it was a search go-to. But now, I mean, Facebook gets I think 1.5 million hashtag searches a day. So a way of finding something on social media is, I guess, through the hashtag, the Instagram hashtag. And then the stats on social media, there is, if you are a page manager, there's an insights tab on your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I'm sure Pinterest. There are analytics and insights tabs on your Facebook pages, which allow you to see engagement rates, click-through rates, and various metrics.